All right, I think we're running. So, welcome to today's episode of the AI Money Moves podcast. We have a very exciting guest. For those of you just joining the podcast, we are Synex Consulting. We specialize in, helping insurance and financial services companies scale their revenue and optimize processes. If you want to learn, how to take your business to the next level, make sure you stick around. If you're also interested in a free growth plan consultation, just drop us a growth in the comments. Today, I would like to introduce you to Randel. So without further ado, Randel, welcome to the pod.
Pleasure to meet you, Dom. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, pleasure's mine. So Randel, Quickson is all about making embedded protection easier for the businesses. What is I guess to jump straight into it, the aha moment when you realized the space needed reimagining and you decided to build this business around it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So my experience entirely for my career has been insurance product development and product design. And I was in this really transformative era where I was starting off straight out of college for an insurer. It was big and national across the US. And the way that they taught things were very product centric. So I had to think, how does this work for my product? What is the ways that I should be changing my products? And then I moved from there into an insurtech, and the thinking became customer centric. Traditional change of no longer what is best for the product, but what is best for the customer. And what I realized in that transition was that the way that we had been doing things were a bit outdated. Take that time forward, and now at Quicksent, we've accelerated that. We realized insurance in and of itself, no one cares about. The average consumer couldn't care less about insurance. So what is it that we make insurance better for the customer? Well, bring it into the actual product or service that they're buying. So make it inherently protection at purchase. And that is what we're all about. And that's when I had that aha moment to say, oh, this is how we do this with Quicksent.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's funny because we always joke about the insurance space. People sort of fall into it. It's never really an area where people just wake up like, I want to be in insurance. It just sort of happens organically, right?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I always make the joke at home of how much I enjoy talking about insurance. I love talking about insurance. And then at the office, I joke about how no one cares about insurance. Keep that as our guiding light. No one cares about insurance. So how do we make it easy and deliver value that they actually want?
Absolutely. I love it. And you've built and scaled insurance products in different settings. How did your journey lead you to Quickson?
Oh, that's a great question. Again, so it's really just the culmination of thinking about products. I've always had the through line on all of my different areas in the past has been I am thinking about how our product can be better. Sometimes that product was commercial. Sometimes that product was residential. Sometimes that product was liability. Sometimes that product was not. There's all these different insurance products that we were thinking about and that I was looking at, but I got to ask the same question, how do we make this better? How do we do it better? And then I was also looking at it from different angles. And so all of those different ways is what prepared me for Quicksent now, where we look at things and we're doing things in a very novel approach. So we take novel ideas and apply them to create unique insurance solutions for the different values and the products that we're doing. And I could not have done that without having worked in all of the different ways of insurance and all of the different products that I've seen to do that. I make another analogy I make is like working in a restaurant. You work in a kitchen, you work out front, you work maitre d', you work in the back office. It gives you this insight on how everything is made. And then that is what allows you to be really creative in doing the next ways that you want to do things.
Absolutely. So your prior experience has definitely led you in terms of experience has been a fantastic benefit.
Completely.
So what's something people tend to misunderstand about embedded insurance, or insurance as a service?
The first thing that they think about is that they think that insurance can only be a grudge purchase, right? The first thing that anyone that has insurance experience says, everyone begrudgingly buys insurance. No one is happily buying insurance. And I challenge that thought specifically when it comes to extended warranties and protection plans. If you consider the idea that Apple Care is something very similar to an insurance product from the consumer. It looks very similar to an embedded insurance product. It is not specifically in the US because it has a MAGMOS warranty and there's all these technical things. But from an average consumer, it feels very much the same. You compare the customer experience, the satisfaction with Apple Care versus the average insurance product on the market that's consumer driven, and it is leaps and bounds higher.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then Apple has just doubled down on this and made the Apple One Care thing. So that way it enhances the insurance even more, the angle of this.
Yeah.
So for anyone that looks and says insurance is only a begrudging purchase, I will say you are absolutely wrong. The problem is that insurance has walked away from delivering more value to consumers and to customers. That is the real problem. And when you look at other companies that are delivering value, they are happy with it. They are happy with these kind of products. And that is to me, the number one issue that I see across our industry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Apple have definitely done a good job of making it a bit more sexy, right?
Exactly. Turns out they can do that really well. They have a knack for being able to do that, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. And delving a little bit into industry trends and embedded insurance specifically, it's become a bit of a hot topic, like we just mentioned. But the execution is complex, as I'm sure you're aware. In your view, what are the biggest challenges businesses face when trying to embed insurance into their product or sales flow?
To me, the first thing is trust, right? You start as the business and they're trying to embed this. They're concerned about their data. They're concerned, am I getting ripped off? Is there all of these different issues that are happening? How's the insurance company making so much money? Why do they want to do this? And that is, to me, the biggest challenge you have to overcome. As the customer, as the provider, that's the biggest challenge. And to those that are, that are customers, I would tell you that insurance is a math problem. For us, we are looking at math and statistics. A lot of times we're making very nominal margins in terms of profit, and our goal is to customer satisfaction, making sure that it's done right and done well. And it's largely a math problem. For insurance companies, I would say figure out ways, those that are trying to convince businesses to adopt embedded insurance, figure out ways to make it smaller, right? Let us test this in this space. Let us do a small pilot here. Let us focus in on this new product that you're launching that you have growth aspirations for. Let us get very focused so that way it doesn't feel like you're opening up your entirety to us. And it doesn't feel like you're doing some massive project that we are never going to be able to walk away from. It's just one small piece at a time. And as we start to deliver and prove out our value, then we grow that and we start to move it into different spaces.
Nice, like it. And from your vantage point, what shifts are you seeing in how SMBs, digital platforms view risk, protection, or partnerships with insurers? Are they more open now than before?
It's great that you're saying this because that you're asking this question, because I think it changes regionally. Here in the U.S., you're right, we had a discussion earlier about where we're based, where we're sitting, what we're seeing. In the U.S., I think it's a bit slower behind the curve on this. I think that embedded insurance has been sold at best as extended warranties, as still separate transaction. There's limited true embedded plays in the U.S. It hasn't taken off as much as we've seen in the EU. So in the U.S., it's just been new players entering the market. How do we embed this deeper? And that has been the first trend of how can insurance companies do this? How can we do this? And then I think maybe in the next 5 years, we'll be able to see this proliferation like you're seeing in the EU, where this is included more often. If it's not included as a part of like kind of this extended warranty, then it's still a very small but separate transaction of purchase protection of what I'm doing. Yes, let me add this in. Yes, let me add this in. It's on very small consumer goods that we've been seeing it in.
Absolutely. So smaller platforms versus bigger carriers, do you believe smaller, more nimble businesses have an advantage in embedded insurance, or do they struggle more because, resource or compliance constraints?
The way you've presented that is exactly the trade-off that I would say. There's a struggle, but then they also have the nimbleness. I think it's a truly symbiotic approach. And the way that I've been talking about this as well has been this idea of these smaller players into the insurance space are necessary, and they're also doing all the research and development. If you were to take a big company like Allstate that is insuring the homes of a large swath of American homes, it becomes something of an infrastructural challenge. So if they started doing things that were too nimble, too risky, that put the infrastructure of all of the homes that they're insuring at risk, we would have a calamitous problem here. So what instead they've done is they've outsourced this. They've let these smaller, nimble players to go off and be small and nimble, test things here and there. You'll never reach us in scale without anyone's support, and you also won't be able to get started without anyone's support. So here's a little moat that you can play in, a little garden that you can play in, figure it out, and then if it turns out that this idea is true, they'll become an acquisition target by someone like an Allstate, and then they'll be able to the entrepreneur that figured it out, they'll be able to go retire on a beach, go do the next play, go do whatever they want. And then Allstate will be able to say, take their idea and scale it up and bring value more to their customers and their wider base. So yes, they have the advantage to be able to test things being small and nimble, but then they will never be able to have the scale of the big ones, at least not with a lot more investment, a lot more time. So it's a truly symbiotic ecosystem that we have that is much powerful now than it was, let's say, 10 years ago.
For sure, absolutely agree. And going a little bit into, current state of business, if you were to brag a little, what's something in Quicksand that's going surprisingly well, or something that you're just proud of lately, whether it's client wins, platform features, adoption metrics?
Yeah, so what we're really excited about at Quicksand is having launched our Sunshine Guarantee product. So our Sunshine Guarantee product is a parametric insurance product that is a performance-based that allows us to guarantee the performance of solar systems that are being installed. So if you're a big commercial and industrial player that is considering the idea of, hey, I want to get all of my base and all my platform onto solar energy because that is more efficient use of a more efficient way to get energy. This is where our Sunshine Guarantee goes into place. We announced it in August. We announced us being able to go live. We immediately started going off and talking about this in New York. Most recently in Climate Week, we talked about it. We did a couple of pressers. We're talking about it. And the response that we've gotten has been very exciting. I just got off a call now with another potential partner here in Illinois that wants to pilot this on one of the deals that they're working through on a community solar basis. And we're really excited. I mean, it's an exciting time. You can see kind of my background. There's a wall of sticky notes. There's just that is
organized
our team.
Chaos, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is our team all trying to figure this thing out. So yeah, we're really excited right now. It's an exciting time at Quicksand for us.
Fantastic. Yeah, it sounds exciting. And I guess then, on the flip side, what is the current pain point or potential bottleneck that giving you and your team a bit of a headache these days, if anything?
To be very transparent, it's fundraising, right? So we're a young team. We're a young company. Quicksand was incorporated earlier this year. And so now we are going to go off and start looking for partners to help us to be able to scale and support a lot of these this pipeline that we're starting to build. So this is our plan through to the end of the year and the start of next year is to do some fundraising. So we're looking for partners that are interested in growing with us and supporting our needs as we want to build out and be able to support this pipeline that we're building out for. So that is our biggest pain point is fundraising and capital. But we imagine that will be solved with the right partners here very quickly.
Yeah, for sure. The right partners. And to be honest, that's quite a common, from what we're seeing, that's sort of a common theme here.
Absolutely.
Which metrics do you track? Is it the numbers of embedded deals live, customer conversions, loss ratios? What would you say the main metrics are?
Right now, we're looking at customers at a very high level of customers. And then as we start putting these projects into place and doing these deals in place, we want to look at lift, incremental lift. So how much more are you receiving in conversion and in revenue from the projects that we're supporting versus the projects that we're not supporting? How much more is our industry our projects that we're supporting causing in conversion rate and revenue per transaction versus the industries? That is the things that we're always focusing on is incremental lift. We believe that if we're providing a lot of incremental lift to our customers, then it will showcase in a bevy of other ways and a lot of the other sub KPIs that we want to focus in on.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And in your view, what's the hardest trade-off you regularly face? Speed versus risk, customization versus standardization, flexibility versus control. And which side are you leaning towards?
The biggest trade-off that we're thinking is customization versus like out of the box. And I would say that more within the products and services that we're delivering today. When we do things well, we get a lot of people coming to us saying, hey, can you fix this for me? Can you fix this for me? And someone in insurance, man, I want to do it. I want to help you. I want to say yes to everything. But we have to think about this in a very disciplined fashion of time is also a constraint and a resource. And so right now we are focused very much on the solar industry. How can we solve those problems doing our sunshine guarantee? But yeah, I want to be able to help everyone. I think that, resiliency is at the heart of insurance, and it's one of the things that I love about the industry. And so I want to be able to provide that resiliency on all of these different problems. And if you can bring me a problem and I can figure it out, then I want to be able to do it. So it takes a little bit of discipline to say, not yet.
Yeah. To say no to a few things here and there.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. And leading into a little bit about future goals and, outlook. Where do you see Quixent in the next 12 months? More verticals, deeper features, stronger partnerships?
Stronger partnerships, measuring those incremental lifts, being able to say that as an industry, here's the trends that we're seeing, here's how Quixent has been able to solve it, and then starting to move deeper into those partnerships that we have. So we want to go very deep in the solar industry. We look at the solar industry and say, hey, what would it look like if you had an insurance company that was your partner and the best partner that you could ever imagine from your insurance company? That's what we are looking at. And so right now it's been our production guarantee, our sunshine guarantee that we've started off with. Yeah. Next, we want to be able to help support their needs when it comes to auto liability, property damage, general liability. These kind of things where we can build deeper connections and partnerships with our customers and solve more problems that they're having. All of that in the solar industry is where we see ourselves in the next 12 months.
Very interesting, yeah, for sure. And looking further ahead, how do you imagine embedded insurance evolving? Will it become the default in your opinion?
I don't know about default. I hope so. I don't know, but I don't know how long. What I tell people is that 90% of consumers should be buying insurance as protection at purchase, right? And this is more out of my gut, right? It's a little bit more gut entrepreneurial. But what I'm saying in that is that there's probably about 10% of the market that have very sophisticated needs that they need to be served. It's very sophisticated because they have a lot of assets or they have very specialized assets. And for that 10%, that subset, they will need to talk to an insurance agent or an insurance carrier to get their needs served. But for the vast majority, if it's very much, I'm getting insurance, homeowners insurance for my run-of-the-mill house in the suburbs, I'm buying renter's insurance for my apartment in the city, that should be served as protection at purchase. And to that degree, I do think that, yes, this will become a lot more of the standard. Embedded insurance will become the standard in different ways. And then the challenge becomes, how can we provide value? Insurance should be more valuable. And how can we provide value on a day-to-day for consumers, for policyholders, for businesses that are offering this as embedded insurance? Insurance should be more valuable.
Absolutely. And what role might AI or smarter data play in all of that?
Making things more translatable. That's the way that we're looking at things. So the way that we explain Quixent is that Quixent is an AI-enabled insurance exchange platform, and the way that AI comes into place for us is it translates things a lot more simply. So if our market service provider, this is the ones that we move our embedding through. If our market service provider has one way, we could translate that very simply into the way that we do it through AI. Using the data that they have to be able to employ our AI agents to be able to scrub it and to translate it directly in that way as well is what makes it very easy for us to move quickly between the two different parties. And I think that's where AI will be a lot more effective going forward, is it doesn't necessarily need to replace, it can just enhance and translate. It's funny, you're even seeing it in consumer products, right? When you're seeing these AI-enabled headphones being able to translate things in real time. It turns out translation is really, really strongly served by AI.
Sure, for sure. And nobody's going to learn languages anymore.
Exactly. No, there's
That's
no
the
need
world
to.
of it. There's
Yeah.
no need.
Talk to
There's
mom
no
and
need.
dad, and then you can go talk to a stranger.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we always say on our side as well. It's not, AI isn't a tool to completely replace humans. There's always going to be that human aspect that's needed. So we like to think of it as more of a supplement, if anything. Okay, and I mean, I guess that leads to my last question then. If you were advising a non-insurance business, a fintech, a SaaS, something like that wants to embed insurance but is a bit cautious, what is the first steps you would tell them to take?
I would tell them to focus on what your problems are, right? So you've heard about embedded insurance. You're curious about embedded insurance, but I need to know your main goals. Do you want to drive higher conversion? Do you want more revenue per deal that you're signing? Think of those things. And if you think of those things first, then take those to an insurer, or someone more specifically, take them to someone like me and say, hey, here are my goals. How can what you do solve my goals? And put that on the insurer and on that company to come up with those ideas, right?
Yeah.
Because if you start thinking, here's the way that I can use embedded insurance, you may come up with ideas that are not necessarily compliant with insurance regulations. You may come up with ideas that aren't really feasible or have been unsuccessful in the past. But if
Yeah.
you focus on thinking, solve my goal, solve my business goal for growing this product, and you take that to an embedded insurance player, they should be able to give you a clear-cut answer on here's how we can do that to solve your problem.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, start with the goals. That's the main point.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Said it much more
Well,
succinctly.
listen, Randall, this has been fantastic. Just before we wrap up, if somebody wants to find you or the business, where can they look or where can they reach out?
You can certainly go to our website, quixent.com, Quixent. You can find me on LinkedIn, very simply under Randel Bennett, Randel. And then, of course, I'm happy to connect with anyone and be able to talk a little bit more. Would love to follow up with anyone that is interested.
Fantastic. Good stuff, Randall. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Tom. Be good.
Cheers.